Intro.
All right, welcome to the Shaw Brothers Podcast, episode 4. So, episode 3 is a two-parter, so this is technically episode 4.1. We might do like two, break it up into two podcasts because we like to talk a lot, and we don't want to, we want to keep you as listeners, so we don't want to bore you with an hour and a half chat. So, but here we are.
Yep.
Number 4. We're into summer now. It is June. Well into summer. It's going to be really hot next week. I'm looking forward to it. What's going on with you?
Lots of gigs.
You just played Arts Fest. How was that?
Fun. Great.
Columbus Arts Fest. We both just played. That was a lot of fun. They did a great job this year.
I thought so.
I think the 3 stages is what's up.
Yeah, it was great.
They always had 3 stages, but I think the way they did it, I think they always did, but I don't know. I like the way they did it this year.
They had the underground stage this year. They had the bicentennial in years previous.
Yeah.
I know because I played the underground one.
Did they always... I feel like last year they had the one stage in the big grassy area that was like considered the main stage or whatever. And then they had the one under the bridge, but did they also have bicentennial or was that...
I'm not sure.
No, I don't know because
I don't know if they did.
They had another stage over in the street. That's where it was because I remember I walked by that last year. Yeah,
I like these.
I like this
better.
year. The Genoa stage was great, looking over the water and stuff. So
that was nice.
Big thanks to Arts Fest. We love your continued support. It's much appreciated. I know all the musicians in Columbus get a lot from you guys, so we appreciate that. Mm-hmm. What else is going on? We
did a couple weddings.
We
did.
Yeah, it was a hot one.
You played at Brewdog. I played at Bexley Porch Fest.
Yep. We've been gigging our butts off. What was last weekend? That's the thing. People ask me about, what have you been up to? And I'm like, I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
I don't remember yesterday.
I was just looking at some of the gigs.
Kind of goes by in a breeze, but yeah, here we are. So, we are trying to work on getting this podcast kind of formatted, as we talk about every time. That's our main theme. We are trying to get to the point where we will be what the show will be. But in the meantime, we are looking at trying to get a Patreon going. So I'm going to put some details in the info below. If you feel like you'd like to support, or you like the content we're putting out, or you don't like it, you don't have to do anything. But if you do like it, the Patreon will be there, and we would love your support on that as we continue trying to carve a path for our creative endeavors or creative careers, like so many others. So there's a lot of good artists and creatives out there these days to support. So we appreciate your support if you're doing that. Anything else on that?
No.
You have your own Patreon, don't you?
Yeah, Topher James. Patreon.com/Topher James. I've been doing a lot of just my own solo gig content. And I hate social media, so as everybody does, I feel like, and as much as everybody. And so I mean, kind of like, social media, but it's private. So it feels a little bit more intimate. It feels a little bit more like I can open up and express myself because I don't want to share all that stuff on socials.
What, your personal stuff or
just everything? Yeah. There's a lot that I'm just like, I'd rather be like front facing, like.
Well,
everything's great, but like the private Patreon, if you want to dig in, I'll tell you a little bit of the like bads and the goods.
I think that's really important because the reality is there are so many people out there going after the thing as a monetized expression. Like, okay, I'm going to start a thing so I can make a lot of money doing this. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I think for artists, it's challenging because we study and try to become artists for forever. We're doing this since we're little kids, and that's the thing that we're like, we want to do this so we can work at doing this. And now here we are in 2024 where it's almost like, well, cool, but that's not good enough. You got to have all these other ways to express yourself and to connect with your audience, which I particularly like. It wasn't a choice, but we're leaning into that, obviously. Like, it wasn't a choice that time exists, but we're leaning into it. And so I think when we talk about like things like Patreon or the places that we're online trying to, do our thing and find supporters for, it's a challenge. We have that in our back of our head always, like, I want to be playing the gigs. I want to play the music. I want to create the art,
I like the long form podcast stuff.
Yeah. I like ingesting it.
I do too.
And I like doing it, actually. This has been, like, great.
Yeah.
But it's not, it wasn't what we set out to do, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but the social media, it's the selfie of, hey guys, I'm here at the blah, blah, blah. That stuff is,
but it's so
too
much,
hard
it's
to
so
do.
much navel gazing. I mean, that is what the internet is now.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is hard. But, there's also a whole generation of kids that, like I said, like, we were acutely aware of the fact that, right, hey, like in 1995, right, or 1998,
right,
when we were growing up, we were teenagers, and we were working on our craft, and literally only thing you could see out ahead was the next place that we would achieve, right? Like, oh my goodness, okay, now I'm in the symphony orchestra. Oh, okay, now, now I'm getting offers in college, or whatever it might be. Art, same thing. But this wasn't even a glint in the eye at that point, right? So like we're aware of that. We're the generation that grew up with it.
And without it.
But I mean, we grew up as it grew up.
Right.
And evolved. Whereas there are children of today, younger people of today, I would say, they don't have that perspective. So I kind of understand. There's no blame. There's no like any of that. It's just interesting to put a perspective on that generation of people that are like, this is literally how we express ourselves.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And now the whole thing is they're saying like I have a young person that I work with sometimes, and she does social media. She's like, just like do exactly what you do, and I'm like, yeah. But like they're figuring it out now.
That's because it comes back around.
Yeah, they're not like before. Yeah, it's just interesting.
Well,
it's like, don't be fake. Well, yeah.
Yeah, and the reality is that it came around the other way. It's like you had to do it fakely.
Yeah, to do it
to
real.
figure out that, oh wait, at the end of this, my genuine, just who I am is what people want.
Right, and that's what you should, if you're going to create content, the worst word ever, you want to create content that you're kind of already doing. So like with my Patreon, to bring it back to me, I've been like filming myself rapping chords and all this like stupid stuff that it's documenting. I don't want to do, but it is nice in a little bit to be able to look back on like, oh, look at this month. I filmed all my gigs, or just even just before and after. I like to talk like, all right, that was interesting. This guy does this. This happened at the gig, and then I film myself rapping chords and I speed it up. Just like little creative. It's creative.
I think it's great.
It's interesting. It's not that interesting, but
well,
I'm trying to do something.
Actually, I think
to give an insight.
Anything can be interesting, and I think that's great. I mean, there's a way of doing that.
It's
right?
a way to be artistic.
Yeah, like in like my background. So I went to college for music for very little bit, but I really got my degree in writing and producing for television. So writing stories and producing content was basically what that was all about before this existed.
Yeah.
And so like what we would talk about is like, even in the art of rapping a chord, there's a way to show that or communicate that in a way that's interesting to people.
Yeah.
That's super smart, like do it in a sped up way or whatnot. And,
yeah.
You're not going to show real time of a chord rapping. That's
and then I voice over and say, this is what I'm thinking about when I'm doing this.
See, that's creative. I think that's really, really cool.
Like the last one ended up being just like kind of dark.
Yeah.
Like this was a crappy gig. No one showed up, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be complaining, but I want to show people the reality of what the job is.
Yeah, I think that's important. I don't think there is a I don't know. I think we're in a place enough with what we're doing where people get it. Like I think the fans that we have that we know personally, right, enough to like have these conversations with, like, oh man, it was a really hard gig the other day. They're not going to be like, oh, boo-hoo you.
Yeah.
They're going to say, yeah, I mean, they're going to be more empathetic about it.
Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, I'm never trying to complain about what our career is.
Right.
It's hard. That's another hard part of being a musician. It's like, there are hard days. There are really hard days. And you have to put a face on to people that is like, hey, I love doing this. Mm-hmm. This is great. Which you do. But like, does everybody out there have every day of their life be the best day of their life? No, it's just not the way it works, as much as you're working towards that. It's about balance. Mm-hmm. How do you have those days where they're a challenge, but like, okay, I can deal with this challenge,
Speaking of balance.
Yeah.
I went to an Airbnb with Becky and there was like a pool.
Oh, yeah.
There's a guy that owns like a pool house and it's like a hot tub and stuff. So that was fun.
Nice.
Last 3 days.
Where was that at?
Right in the middle of I like going right in the middle of the busy season because it gives you a little bit of...
Oh, yeah. How the other half lives.
Yeah. Yeah. In Xenia, Ohio.
Cool.
But,
yeah,
yeah.
Xenia. That's
was
right
cool.
by Yellow Springs.
You just sit around and do nothing and eat.
That's all. I mean, you don't need to do anything.
It was great. Just a
yeah.
little breather.
That's great. We're going on vacation over the July 4th holiday. Talk about doing things.
Nice.
What do you call it? The nuclear family would do or whatever. We're going to, and even more nuclear. We're going to North Myrtle Beach because we were trying to. So my girlfriend Lindsay's got 3 boys, and they're all kind of getting at that age where, they've got their own lives going on. They're all in college and stuff, and one's in high school still. But so getting any kind of vacation is just impossible anymore with 2 of them. They all go to school and or work, and So, but anyways, somehow we found 5-6 days that were free over July 4th, and she was like, "Well, this is about the only place we can get to, and
nice.
That's a beach and that's affordable and whatever." So we're gonna do that. That'll be fun. But I've got a gig, leave the next day, and then rush back for the next gig. That's kind of how that works, and they'll still be there. So anyways, I was going through our YouTube page the other day. Since hopefully you're watching this on YouTube. If you're not. It's available on Andy Shaw Band's YouTube. So our YouTube handles are in the description below, but it's on Andy Shaw Band's. It's on Shaw Brothers. Hopefully we can get it up on Toby James.
Yeah, get it up on there.
So we'll have that on there as well. And we update these podcasts every Wednesday is our goal. If we miss a week, forgive us, but we're busy. Like we said, we're usually going to shoot at least one full one and maybe divide it in half each time and then release them on Wednesdays. So, we appreciate you watching, but to that point, I was going through Andy Shaw Band's YouTube page, and I hadn't looked at it for a long time. Like, what videos are even on here?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! There were videos from like 18. I mean, it was like a hand cranked video. It looked like, and so
aren't there songwriter circles on there?
I don't
like Andy
songwriter,
Choi?
huh?
Like Andy Choi, or maybe that's my page.
That might be your
There's
page.
some like old videos.
There's some stuff like that on Andy Shaw Band. So I went ahead and privated some of those. I didn't delete them. I privated them. So because I don't think it was not relevant content to
our brand,
who the band is. I was like, we had videos on there of people in Columbus busking.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why.
That was probably my thing.
Oh, it's great.
So the problem with YouTube is, yeah. At one point, they switched to Google and all that stuff.
And the other problem is that when we started using YouTube in the beginning, we weren't brand conscious. Like, this page is for this thing.
Right.
It was like, I have a page, and then I think at some point I just changed it into the band's page.
Well, I have 3 YouTube pages on my own email.
Yeah.
I'm like, I
think I have 3 as well.
It's all dumb.
It's all dumb, but anyway. Onward and upward with that struggle.
It's fun. So what are the ones you saw?
Well, there were just like us at the North Market, where we're both like a lot skinnier. You were really skinny. There was one of like Jake
Webb?
Jake Young.
Oh, Jake Young.
And Stephen Moeller?
Busking, yeah. That was my whole thing.
That was your thing. Okay, I couldn't figure it out. There was a lot of Theo videos. There was a lot of there was a lot of Matt Page. There was the songwriter. Remember the video we did with Theo? Those are all up there, which I left those up there.
Ohio Sessions?
Yeah, those are cool. That was a great idea at a time where that wasn't really...
Oh, yeah.
That kind of thing wasn't really happening, really, and I forget that guy's name, but that was cool. But, yeah, there's a lot of interesting content out there for us. But
really grainy.
It makes me kind of sad. I don't know why I get real sad when I look back at that stuff. I'm like, oh, man. Because we didn't know anything, and we were just trying to...
Yeah.
But it does make me feel good about where we are now, that we've come to this point that's like, oh, okay. We have a professional career now, at least, I'm not saying anything great about us, but I'm saying we do work for a living now, and I think we have our ship a lot tighter. We're running a lot tighter. Mm-hmm. All right. Back from break. The ad was brought to you by... I'm just kidding. So what... Let's...
Blue pill.
Yeah, blue pill.
Get your... Sorry. Anyway.
Jesus, we're cutting that.
We're X-rated.
So what are some questions that you had for today?
All right. So we got a song called "Take Me Down, Ohio." Well, actually, it's called Ohio.
Yeah.
Andy Shaw Band's recorded it, and the Shaw Brothers. So
yeah.
What's the song about?
That was just one of those songs kind of came out. There's a lot to that song for me. I was writing this song, the verse lyrics, and I was like, okay, this is working. This is kind of what I'm trying to get out. And then when I got to the chorus, I was like, well, this is what I want to say, right? But take me down Ohio. But like to me, there was like a cornball effect with that. It was like using a state name in a song is always like, for me, it's like
right.
eye rolly. But it just like made sense. And honestly, like I was trying to write a song that was kind of talking about where you come from, what your experiences are. Like for me, it's a lot about like my journey with music, like leaving, coming back, and feeling like kind of honestly like lost and like kind of like a loser, which I think a lot of people can relate to, just like that self-doubt, that whatever insecurity and stuff. Yeah, but it's about a lot of things. There's a lot of deeper meanings, and it changes over time.
Is Take Me Down like literally like take me down, like something like a punch takes you down?
Yeah.
Is that kind of
what are the lyrics on the chorus? Take me down, Ohio.
Bound to let it fall apart.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Yeah, and I think there was I've struggled with a lot, like with my music. We've done some touring and traveling and things like that, so we've had a lot of experiences outside of Columbus, as humble and meager as they have been, right? Mm-hmm. But we're proud of all that. Like we'll play to 2 people in Boise or whatever, and like have a great time and great experience, and then on to the next spot. But yeah, there is something to the fact that, and I don't know if this is what I was talking about. I mean, I wrote this song like 10 years ago. But there's something to the fact of like trying to leave home.
Yeah.
Only to find out that like home wasn't so bad.
Right.
And then feeling a little bit stuck sometimes, in that
with
in
the
that
music
space.
thing. Cause
with the music thing.
Trying to look forward.
Yeah, because music is, I don't think there's any musician out there that doesn't have some thought in their mind that what they're doing and what they're creating, they want that to be bigger than what it is. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's anybody. I mean, maybe Taylor Swift was like, I think the moon. She's probably thinking the moon next. Probably. I don't know. I mean, what else could she do? I mean, it's pretty great. So I don't know. So there's a little bit of that for me, and Bound to Let It Fall Apart. Yeah.
Pain or fear that I know
could ever mend this broken heart. Yeah.
Nice.
But there's a lot of imagery in there too. I mean, Ohio is the heart state. Mm-hmm. So could ever mend this broken heart. You tie that to Ohio. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, I'm talking about my childhood memories and all my, there's something like, I've talked about it a little bit, but I used to play trumpet, and I was like really hardcore into that. And then there was that whole period where like I got out of that, and it just kind of put me into very dark depression for at least like 5 or 6 years when I was in my early 20s, which isn't uncommon when you're in your 20s. A lot of kids are depressed, but so yeah, it was like life changing, because I mean, you don't know how committed I was. I was like, for anybody that knows me, it's like when I go after something, I'm gonna go after it and try to do it, and I might not even be able to do it, but I'll just die trying. And so like giving that up was hard, because it was coming to realization that that's not who you are. And then as an adult, kind of starting over with something that, as a kid was so much easier. Yeah, kids just like are smart.
Yeah.
They're sponges. Everything is easier for them. Mm-hmm. My brain was like 20 by the time. I'm like, oh, this is going to be hard. I can start all the way back at 0.
Right.
And I don't feel like I ever got I never really liked my voice until the last like 5 or 10 years.
It takes forever.
It takes forever. And still, I listen to it, I'm like, ugh. So at least I know that now that we're recording ourselves all the time, at least we know we can see the growth.
Yeah.
That is one silver lining. It's like, okay, great. Well, this sounds better than that 10 years ago.
Have you ever recorded in a place that you really felt good about, or like your ideal record? What's your record?
Not really. Honestly, I think producing...
Ideal recording setting, sorry.
Yeah. I think producing and recording at home, even if the equipment isn't as good, has been my best experience. Mm-hmm. I think for years, and this is something... The COVID stuff, yeah. I think I was uniquely inspired during that time because of what was going on with everything in my life in addition to the world. But yeah, I don't think I've ever had, and this is no offense to any engineer out there, because there are some really great sound engineers. I really like the stuff that Joe Veers did for us. I just wish we would have done it today instead of, what would have been 14 years ago. I think we're just at a different, 15 years ago. We're in a different spot now. But that being said, I think home recording for me has been the best, because it gives me the time to produce myself and to really be patient with myself. I think, and I do not mean any offense to any engineers at all out there, because I know their craft is serious and intricate and takes a lot of really specific knowledge, and not even specific isn't the right word, attention to detail. That's what an engineer is. They know how everything works, right? They know how to get something to sound a certain way. But I listen to music as an artist does. So for me, even if some of the engineering is a little bit lackluster, if the product sounds good, I know when that usually is. And so I kind of come after things in that perspective. So that's why I like recording at home. But I'm still trying to find a space where, hey, this is my vibe and this is how I work. I don't know. How about you?
I'm definitely not the best engineer.
Oh, it's okay.
I mean, recording at home's great, but there's a lot of bad things about it.
Well, where's your best place you've recorded? The Jeff Martin stuff?
Everything's kind of different. I like the music hall thing because we did all live.
Yeah.
And there was a vibe to the room.
Are you talking about with your band?
With Keith, yeah.
With
my
Keith,
band.
Yeah. Okay.
As far as my band goes, just because I've recorded a lot of different ways. That was really cool. I really liked, it's really the result. Do you hear the end and you're like, that sounds good.
Right.
So I really like the way those recordings sounded. I mean, clean. In my perception, Keith mixes pretty clean, and those recordings it just made sense.
That works for your band.
They were very clean.
You're a dry mix, not a lot of overproduction. Roomy, kind of a roomy vibe.
Right. Well,
at least in the perspective of everybody playing together. Yeah.
Yeah, and that record completely made sense because it was at musical. It was in a room. We were playing. Everything was live, except my vocals and my guitar, because I redid all my stuff. Yeah. But even that, there was vocal bleed that we just recorded over.
Sure.
But it sounded great. I liked the vibe of that, and also the players and the arrangement and all that stuff. It all counts. But I also really loved the Jeff Martin stuff at the lake house we did, because we were all in it together and comfortable, and we had lots of time to work on it.
Sure.
And Jeff's a killer mixing engineer.
Yeah.
And also he created the vibe that was really cool, and ended up playing drums on it, which was also
great.
Kind of lucky in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's all so different. You can't really apples to oranges.
Yeah, it just goes to the thing of this is another thing in the art form that we do that, I mean, like you said, if it comes out the way you want it to come out, that's the most important thing. And I think I don't know how much the listener, I'm sure there are some musicians that may listen or not, and people that aren't musicians, but I don't know how much you think about that, about an artist in the recording process, because especially today, I mean, the recording process can be a very sterile environment, and it isn't always most conducive to creating. It's the goal is to capture what you create and make it sound how you want it to sound, right? But how often is that the case, and how easy is that from step 1 to step 637 or whatever, however many steps there are in the recording process? It typically isn't that easy. It is.
You're not just going into a room, recording it, and then you're done.
There's a lot of decisions, and also, like you said, perspective is the most challenging thing to get other people to share with you. So, as an artist, I hear things in my head, I play things; those aren't the exact same thing. However, we're steering the ship towards that perspective. And an engineer might hear how you sound, but they don't know how you sound in your head, or what you want in your head. And then the third thing is what you want in your head, what you should be sounding like out live. Yeah. I am under the particular mindset these days that I want to get what is in my head out on tape now. Mm-hmm. That's, even if I'm not doing it here, it's not that far from off of what my mind thinks. So now I'm pretty I am, and you can talk to Tony Rice about this. I am pretty I don't know if pushy is the right word, but I'm kind of, I'm not going to accept anything that's just too far from that vision.
Yeah.
Even if I get it to be fully realized as much as I can, it's still like 10% off of what I want it to be. So it's hard, man. It's hard, but I think that kind of thing shows in recordings like even What I'm Aching, which I produced and recorded at home here, and then had Tony help me mix, and songs like Feel Like Living, which we recorded at Capitol with Chad Lorge, and then had Tony Rice mix. Those two songs, which are our most two recent songs written and recorded, I think really exude that. It's like, okay, the vocals are more like how I want them to sound. That's the biggest thing.
And you really basically demoed them first.
Yeah.
Completely
demoed them. Well, totally.
I mean, I wouldn't even call them demos. I'd call them recorded.
Yeah, well, I mean, now in this digital age, it's like, I mean, even when I'm making, I played most of the instruments on that song. If not all of them, because it was COVID. So I was like, well, I'm just going to produce this and try to get this to sound good.
Yeah.
But, and there's something to that too. It's like, as much as I want to say one thing, it's like, well, I got like 7 different recordings of half these songs. I would love to just put them out, know, maybe not on Spotify, but maybe on SoundCloud or maybe on YouTube or something like that. But maybe why not on Spotify? Especially if you're using DistroKid and it's free.
Right.
But, I don't know. The music thing is weird and recording thing is weird. It's weird. And I just want to get to the point where I can have more time to focus on that,
Yeah.
Don't you think so? Like, we gig all the time. You don't want to be recording all the time, too. Mm-mm. It's one or the other. It's one or the other.
I love the lake house thing or the cabin thing.
Yeah.
Because then you have lots of time. You can tune your snare for like 2 hours.
Yep.
I mean, that's the thing. It's a puzzle that's like a billion pieces. So, that snare that Prince used on, what's that song? Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
That's like the whole song.
Raspberry Beret?
No, a lot of those songs.
Sorry. I don't know. My Prince knowledge is lacking. Apologies.
Anyway, he used a really thick, like a bass drum
But
snare.
I could hear your gated snare when you did
exactly.
that.
Yeah. It's like a really, take picture marching band snare. But yeah, that makes that song. So, like, there's so many elements, but I feel like that whole song is that snare drum. He could do whatever he wanted over it, but that snare drum, if it didn't sound like that, it wouldn't be that song. So I don't know. There's just so many factors, but it could be one piece of the puzzle, like John Allen playing a bass line that's like do 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 do, on, like on one of the recordings. I can literally think about it like that made the song the way he made that bass happen.
Yeah, totally.
So, it's the person, it's the vibe, it's the day.
That is actually really interesting. You're right about that too, because those aren't the things you're always thinking about in the songwriting process, but those are the things that happen in the band arrangement process.
Not at all.
Sometimes that actually make you as a creative pivot and be like, oh, yes.
Him and Josh.
That's it.
Him and Josh did this whole thing, and they basically laughed in my face when I gave him the demo that I gave him, and then said no, which is like kind of like bold, to say the least. Like, it's my song.
Yeah.
And they played
it depends.
And they played it different. And I was like, that's cool. And it made it.
Yeah.
Whereas I could have said, no, it doesn't go like that.
We've certainly had other bass players that want other things, and where we've had to be like, no. No.
Okay,
Here's a segue.
Here's a segue. Okay. Do you remember John Soloff was in our band?
I do remember John Soloff. Yeah, 100%.
So I was
first record we ever did. Yeah.
I was in a band called Phonetics in high school.
Forget that. Are you kidding me? Take it all in.
I literally was like, man, I forgot he was in our band.
And somebody had a baby to that "Take It All In" song of ours, which is
somebody came up to us and said that at a show.
Yeah, they say it every time they see us. It's weird.
We made a baby to that song.
But it's cool.
Oh, okay. Speaking of other people bringing things to us, fans, remember the guy at Bunbury that brought us a painting of ourselves?
And it was...
We got to find that guy.
I have that painting in the basement.
It should be up here.
I should put that on the wall, actually.
I think that was the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me at a show of ours.
I don't think I ever saw that guy again. But he was like...
That's pretty cool.
Such a fan of ours that he made a painting.
That's awesome.
Wow. I forgot.
That happened.
About that. I had a dream about Chillicothe last night, as a matter of fact. I think we mentioned Chillicothe every podcast.
We did last time.
I got to start tagging my Chillicothe friends. But it was like we were playing at somebody's private party last night in my dream. And I, of course, you know, it was like, we're supposed to play. I have too many details for this dream. We're supposed to play 7 to 10.
And we got there at 8.
No, we were there on time, but it was pitch black in the backyard where we were going to play by the pool.
Okay. Yeah.
And the party was already like rocking. And so by the time we started like getting set up, like it was kind of dying down.
That's fine.
And then I couldn't get things set up quick enough.
Oh, there you go.
And I was like trying to get everything set up and the mics, and it was like a trek to the car and back. And
That's hilarious.
Dad was just like in La La Land, like, I was like, come on, I need you to play the keyboards. Play the keyboards so I can mix it.
Oh, wait, let me guess. Sound check.
And then, well, no, first thing he's doing is like, can I get it in my ears? I'm like, I haven't even checked you yet. I need to hear it first.
Our dad's notorious for playing the keyboard, and it's at the loudest setting on the volume.
Yeah, there's a...
Bless his heart.
I've lost the entire frequency range between 2 and 4K because of...
It's so bad.
And then he'll laugh about it.
He just doesn't think about it. He's not thinking about that at all.
Yeah, the 7,000th time he hasn't thought about it yet.
I love it. Love it. Oh, man.
Oh, God bless him.
God bless.
Oh,
God bless.
jeez. I was having fun on that train.
Yeah, right? He's on a train. He's on a vacation.
He's on a train. Our dad does not take vacation, and he's on vacation, so
Yep.
he deserves it. He deserves it.